Hey up, how do, and welcome to today's instalment of Loose Lips. This is the 8th feature, man. They're rattling absolutely through. If you're new to what Loose Lips is, I'm Ben Random. I'm the gentleman who will be speaking with various people from different walks of life, looking to engage with them, get them to open up about their life story and share some optimism to yourselves through this situation as we look to come through the other side better for the experience together as a unit. So that's what Loose Lips is designed on doing. We've got incredible selection of people I'm going to be speaking with today. If you want to see any of the previous ones, go onto YouTube and search Pop Cult Chic. I'll give you that again, Pop Cult Chic. That's on YouTube. All the back catalogue is going to be there. Other than that, if you want to send any questions to anybody that I'll be speaking with throughout, just put them. Yes, the scarf's in the background. Bless Jonesy every time, man. You know that. Respect, Dan. Yeah, if you're wanting to ask any of the people that I'm speaking with any questions, send them through and we'll be happy to roll through with that as well. I'm going to be speaking with a lady called Sofia, who's going to be coming through to the group. As soon as she does, we'll be able to speak with her. She's just come through. She's just sent the invite through, so I'll accept her and we'll get rolling with the first chat. Hey, technology. Do-do-do-do-do. Hello, my love.
Hello, hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah, can hear you perfectly. How are you?
I'm good. I'm just trying to product place myself.
So you get
And
Leeds.
so I got the Leeds. I got the Portugal flag.
Yeah.
Okay. I've got a little bit of Macau and a little bit of South Africa and a little bit of Spain.
It sounds like you're
Um,
doing Mambo 5, a little bit of South Africa in my room, a little bit of Leeds just back there too. Sounds like you're singing Mambo number 5.
I
No,
can
over
really
your
put.
head. Do you not remember Mambo number 5?
Of course, I remember. I remember dancing to Mambo Number 5 when you were probably at primary school in
Yes.
1995. Now,
It was, oh,
so.
it was 95. Do you know how I remember it? Because we were on a school trip. And I say a school trip, we were going to Seabrook's factory. So basically, the Criff Seabrooks, the factory's in Bradford. So the school thought, oh, what will we do? We'll take them on a school trip to Seabrooks. And then anyway, up where Mambo number 5 were playing. And it's the only time that I've ever mooned. Like, you know, everyone dead. Oh, moon car behind, Brownie, moon him. So I mooned while Mambo number 5 are on. So it's a real, like, vivid memory.
No, I was
There you
living in
go. There you
Macau.
go.
I was living in
You
Macau
was
at the
living where?
time.
Sorry,
In Macau, Southeast
Macau.
Asia. Yes.
I promise that the interview's not just going to be me referencing what you say to song lyrics, but when you say Macau, it sounds like you're saying the Wu-Tang Clan, the cow. So, but this is cool. This is cool because you ooze coolness, and you don't even realize it. This is how much
Oh,
coolness that you are oozing through.
I thought I was grey and vintage, but if you say cool, then I'm okay with it.
Is vintage not cool? You know what,
Of
right? It
course,
feels like
it's
subtly
nostalgia.
this. Yeah, nostalgia, exactly. That's right. So this is what's crazy, right? It's because you're such a graceful soul. Like, I'm meant to be interviewing you, but like, even without asking anything, I feel like I just feel open up to share a couple of exclusive. And it's almost like you've stolen the interview from me. So firstly, vintage. I'm going to be doing a new comedy like duo with one of my good friends, and one of the names in the hat is Vintage Rogues. So we might be known as the Vintage Rogues. So that's a cheeky exclusive. And then also, right, why I love nostalgia so much is that, you know, when you were at school and you were taught like the elements to make fire is carbon dioxide, heat, and something else, right? If anyone knows what the third one is, put it in the comments. To connect with people and really engage them, it's connectivity, ease, and nostalgia. So convenience rather than ease. So if you've got convenience, connectivity, and nostalgia, that is, you can bring people in. They're into your world. So there you
Cool.
go. Everyone, I've just bestowed some cheeky little day number one tips from me to you all. But anyway,
Well,
so
I think you've
go
got
on.
tips all the time. You've got tips all the
Hey,
time. Anybody wants? You've got tips
yeah,
all the time. Anybody wants to
I have
listen to.
tips all the time. They're not always PG rated. Thank you.
Well, don't you know? Don't you know the do as I say, not as I do? I mean, so as you know, I've been a teacher in another lifetime, I think so, and want to see myself as a teacher. And I always used to say to somebody told me if it's top down, I'll look younger, and you don't see the double chin. So I'm trying to place the phone on. Does that work? Yeah, does that work?
Yeah, it's all good. Yeah, just you know what you need. You know when you go to a photo booth, you need like one of those screwy chairs that you can wind up to like put you higher up like that.
Listen, I'm sitting in a chair that when I was 17 because I'm back in my teenage room years. So if these walls could talk, not of what I did, but if when I came back, all the things I could fill in all these treasure boxes. But yeah, Ben. So I miss you dreadfully. I miss you all. I'm just I might cry, so I've got tissues, okay? Because you know me, because I miss Leeds so much and I miss you all so much. But as I was saying, as a teacher, in Leeds, and that's what somehow I've got to know the majority of you was when I was teaching at Leeds Beckett, and I always say do as I say and not as I do, because I did it all. I did the t-shirt, I got the t-shirt, I did the placements, I did the tequila. I mean, I'm from a generation of tequila shots, when tequila was just tequila, not all fancy cocktails. You know what I mean? So I just always said, do as I say, not as I do, because I did it and I survived, and you just have to remember some of that. So, yeah.
How has it been back home? How is it reliving sort of a lot of memories, like you say, being in your old room?
Well, it is. It's very strange. So the strange thing is to come back at 48. So, and I've got no qualms about saying I'm going to be 49 in September the 11th. I turned 30 when the Twin Towers came down and had to cancel my birthday party. So that's one for the books.
Yeah, because you're a Virgo as well, aren't you?
Of course. I know we're not supposed to do alcohol and it's 3:00 in the afternoon, but I've got a glass of red wine because I'm in Portugal, okay?
There's no rules on booze, especially in lockdown. Bloody hell.
Okay, so home is, how'd you come back into your room that you left when you were 20 and you're now 48, and you bring the world and your experiences with you, and you sit down and you kind of look at, okay, so same four walls, and there's even the little ashtray that I used to hide at the window when I had a fag, so my parents didn't know. And now they say I smoke. So I gave up smoking 3 weeks ago because I didn't want to impose that smoke on them. So that was, wow. It's going for a third glass of wine on a Friday night and your mother going, Sophia, you're going to become an alcoholic. You really think you should have another glass of wine? And I'm just thinking, Jesus Christ, how many bottles did I drink on my own in Armley? And God, if she could see me in one of those bars in Leeds now, or in Macau, or in Mallorca, or wherever I've been. Or my dad saying, when are you going to learn? We're also here in the house. I have to respect their lunchtime. They're 87 and 80, and I'm so blessed
Oh.
that they're doing so well. But, like today I had this coffee makes sense conversation with a group of social enterprise entrepreneurs in Lisbon, and then Mum knocks on the door. She goes, "Are you coming for lunch?" And I'm like, "Mum, you're on Zoom now." So it's all those things. So it's just a whole readjustment, So that's how do you put into four walls 5 countries and a lot of memories, and how do you I've got my diaries of when I was a teenager. There used to be a key so my brothers didn't open it, and you read it, because you go back to these things. It was pink. I don't even like pink. And you go back and you kind of go to page, oh God, there was a love letter that fell out. And you kind of open, you go, God, this is what I used to think 30 years ago. And some things are the same and some things are different. But yeah, it's good. I feel safe, and I feel very, very, very grateful. I don't know to which of my gods. I don't know if my Catholic God, my Buddhist God, my Hindu God, the universe God, that I'm home now, because the last few years have been some toughies, and so I'm glad I'm home. I've got a roof over my head, and I've got food on my table, and I'm here for mum and dad. And everything else, I kind of don't know. I could ramble on a bit, Ben, so you better stop me or ask me what you want
No,
to
I
ask me.
enjoy hearing you talk. That's the whole point, really, and it's good to hear that the fundamentals are in place over there. Do you know what I mean? That you're
Yeah.
able to still show with your rents. And also, I didn't. So, what occupation, like vocation, are you stepping up then? Like when you're in the Zoom chat room and stuff. So you sort of getting yourself back into that side of things out there.
Well, the thing is, Ben, I'm a teacher. I think I'm a teacher by nature. I love teaching. I always used to say I was a corrupter of young minds. That's a vision, but I don't think anybody would pay me to say that I corrupted young minds for a living. But, when you look at the Costons and the Nick Plums of this world, don't blame them on me, but there's so many I could say. I just say Nick Plum because he was like one of the first students. I mean, I still got a coffee cup he gave me from Burger and Lobster, which was his first job when he graduated after having to nearly headbutt him to finish the degree, which he wanted to give up. And I'm sure he won't mind me saying this. For Coston, who was the only student who ever cheeked me back. And I thought, you little shit. Sorry, doesn't matter. And I thought to myself, you little shit, I'm going to show you one day. And I thought, who the hell is this little bugger to front me? Yeah, you got to shout out, Costin. It'll do your ego good, my love. But what I was going to say was, and then somebody, in our teaching team, in the group of lecturers, and there could be others. I know Charlie Archer is watching. Charlie is one of my more recent students, and there's so many. I mean, I'll come back to my students in a second. And I remember someone saying, God, like when I used to have these students who used to front me or were not the go-to golden kid kind of stuff. And I always used to say, yeah, there's something about them. When I joined the university, I wanted to look after the students in the first year. So that to managing, because I thought it's the first year that you can make them or break them. So that's the corruption, because I nearly dropped out of uni 6 months into university. I nearly dropped out because I didn't fit in.
Where did you go to uni?
I went to uni in Portugal. So quickly. I was born in South Africa. My parents are Portuguese. So in South Africa, the Portuguese are the immigrants, like the Indians and the Pakistan families are in England. So the Portuguese and the Greeks and the Italians have got all the corner shops. So I was the migrant in South Africa. I quickly learned to speak Afrikaans, because then I wasn't pork and cheese, okay? Because then if I can speak Afrikaans, they're not going to call me pork and cheese, okay? So quickly learned Afrikaans, and I love it. That was so I left when I was 16, South Africa. My parents were never big fans. My mom's a nurse and had to work very hard to be a nurse, and she couldn't be a nurse in South Africa because she never learned Afrikaans, so she was a stay-at-home mom. My dad's a reader and a dreamer and not a businessman, so that's in my books. So we moved back to Portugal because mom's a nurse and she could work here. And so at 16, when you begin to pick up all your teenage roots, you kind of got uprooted and came to Portugal. And I got here and I didn't understand the language or the jokes or the slang. I spoke Portuguese, but not the slang. So I kind of had to quickly adapt to this here and made some great friends, some of which the girls I met at high school, we still have a glass of wine every Sunday now at 5:00 on Skype. We started with wine, we went to brandy, and now we're all on teas and coffees at 6:00 on a Sunday. So all this to say, God, I lost my trail of thought, but anybody who knows me, I knows I'm like that. So I just kind of always, I lost my trail of thought, Ben. It's like being in a smokestack because I
You
had
were
in it.
speaking originally about your students at Leeds Met at the time,
Oh,
I believe it would have
I nearly
been.
dropped.
But
Sorry,
then
I
when I
nearly
asked where
dropped
you
out.
went to uni, yeah.
Okay, so I then ended up at hotel management school after high school because my economics teacher said I spoke too much and I could never go into business. Because at the time I spoke English, Portuguese, and French. And she said, and you learn Spanish. So I began to join the first degree program in hotel management in Portugal, because until then, it was very much a vocational course. So out of 400 odd applicants, there were 40 of us who got in. So we were like really top. We had amazing teachers because all our teachers were industry based. So 6 months into that, I didn't fit in, Ben. I didn't know the language, not the language. I'd never stayed in a hotel. Do you know what I mean? I'd never gone on the luxury. You know, my parents weren't into big money and stuff. So I kind of just, and the director of my school came up to me one day and he said, come into my office. And he gave me, God is in heaven. Every time I say his name, I raise a glass to him. And he said to me, and he gave me, do you know those, the more classic gentlemen in their lives had a cotton pocket handkerchiefs, and
Yeah.
his had his initials embroidered on it. And he gave me his tissue and he said, cry. And I said, why? And he said, because I know you want to cry. So I just cried and cried and cried. And he said, why do you want to leave? I said, because I don't fit in. And he said, give me a chance. Give me another 6 months and you won't regret it. And one day in your life, you'll remember it. And I said, but why? And he said, yeah, because you think like the men, but you look like a woman. That's why you don't fit in. And the women will never forgive you because the men think you're always going to be their mate. And I thought, you know, and I was 22, 23, and it didn't, and he said, it won't make sense now, but it's going to make sense one day in your life. So I thought, okay, I owe him another 6 months. So I stayed and it changed my life. So I went on to graduate. Then I became an exchange student. I went to Mallorca because where do you go if you don't go to, if you want to study tourism and in Europe? And look who I met on my first placement. Do you know who it is?
I can't see it in the light. Is it Figo?
Yes, Ben.
Is
What
it
I
Figo?
have, I just couldn't find it. It's in here in a pocket. I have got the first shirt Figo gave away when he played for Barcelona, because his opening game was in Mallorca. It was a friendly in Mallorca of the summer of 1995, and you can look it up. And I was the Portuguese kid in the reception. So somebody said to him, oh, do you know that girl at reception? She's Portuguese. So he came over to me and he said, oh, hi, I'm Luis. And I said, oh, okay, hi, I'm Sofia. And he said, what are you doing here? And I said, oh, could you do me a favor? Could you please sign this newspaper for my brothers? Because he had just played his last game with Sporting Lisboa, which is my football team. But Ricky's got the scarf because Ricky and I swapped football scarves. Ricky Burwell, you know, my hero of Leeds, one of my heroes. By the way, I do have female heroes in my life. I keep shouting out the lads, but I do have some female ladies, friends, and pioneers in my life. So that was it. So he said to me, oh, I'll sign the newspaper for you. And he gave me a photograph. Do you know why it's in a frame? It's the only photo my brothers have ever framed and had in their bedroom. The only photograph of me. So it's now here because my brother used to have my room while I was away. So anyway, so he came up to me at the end of the first game and he said, listen, do you think your brothers would like a football shirt? I just don't know how to get one because it's my first match. So I said, yes, sure. And so they came over the next morning at breakfast and he said, oh, by the way, I've signed the front for them, but I got the team to sign the back. So, yeah, I don't know, Amor, Guardiola, Cruyff, that team of Barcelona. Yeah. I
That'll
would
be
have sold
worth
the
so
shirt.
much.
Well, until my mother found mud on it and washed it about 6 months ago.
Are the
Listen, I'm
signatures
going to
gone?
find Figo's signature is still there, but they're very faded. And I said to my mum, "Why would you wash the shirt?" And she said, "I don't know, because I found it in one of the shelves, and it was dirty." And you just kind of go, "No, Mum." So yeah, I got the shirt. So I'm waiting for it. I'm waiting. I've got 2 Throwback Thursday photos to do. One is Luis Figo, which is going to be tomorrow, because following up on this conversation. And the next one is the first time I drank champagne was on my first birthday, and I've got a photo to prove it. So I was destined to join food and drink in my life. So yeah, so that was Mallorca. So I was in Mallorca as a student, met, you know, did the hotel stuff, and then I came back to Lisbon, and I was going to do my top-up degree in hotel management. The government changed, and in Portugal, when the government's changed, everything kind of changes. So I thought, sugar, what am I going to do now? And then I got invited to an interview for a team that was setting up a hotel and tourism school in Macau. So that's the other side of the world. So I went for the interview and didn't tell anybody, at home or anything, because I thought I'm never going to get it, because 5 boys have gone for the interview and me. And the lads had been to Macau on their internships, and they'd been there on a trip and stuff. So I thought I'm never going to get it. So I then went out, as you do in Portugal. If you go out for a coffee, you come home at 1 o'clock in the morning. So remember, I'm 23, 22, right? And if you go out for a drink, then you come home at 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock in the morning, because then you've got to bring in the fresh bread, right? So I'd probably gotten to bed at 5 o'clock in the morning. And at 7, my mum says, there's somebody on the phone. This is landline time, by the way, people. There were no mobile phones, okay? So landline, and my mum says to me, there's somebody on the phone from Macau. And I go, I don't know anybody from Macau. She goes, well, she says she knows you. And I go, oh, bugger, I know who it is. So I go to the phone, and this woman says to me, oh, Sophia, do you remember me? We did the interview. And I go, yes. She goes, well, the job is yours. So I said, oh, okay. So what do I need to do now? She says, well, you've got to be here in about a week's time, because I'm going to go be traveling for work. So I need you to be here. So I said, okay, I'll go get my passport renewed. And she told me how much she was going to pay me. So it was tax-free, and I was going to earn, I think, 4 times more what any graduate would earn here. So I switched off the phone, and I said to my mum, I've just got a job in Macau. And she says, where's that? And I said, oh, I'll go and fetch my Inside the World Atlas, which we've had since kids. So I opened this atlas, and I said, we're here, and now I've got a job here. And she goes, so what are you going to do? And I said, I'm just going to go. So got a passport. That school director of mine gave me 100 Hong Kong dollars, because you couldn't get Hong Kong dollars or Macau patakas in the banks here in such short notice. And he said, when you get to the airport in Hong Kong, you got to get a bus that's going to get you to take it to the ferry terminal to take it to Macau. And I said, well, okay then. So off I went. Cheerio, people. I had a suitcase with 23 kilos, and off I went. And when I got to, so I did the trip, blah, 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 get to the ferry terminal. I don't know if anybody knows the ferry terminal. So I get there, and I see this high-rising building, and I'm thinking, how the hell am I going to get onto this ferry? How am I going to get to a ferry, right? So this Chinese gentleman comes up to me, and he says to me, you look a little bit lost. And I said, well, yes, I need to get this ferry to Macau. And I don't know how. And he says, oh, just come with me, I'll show you. And I just went with him. God knows how I just went, because every time I'd say the story to somebody, they go, Sophia, what if he was like a triad lord, of what? I said, well, he looked friendly enough. So he carried my suitcase up this flight of stairs and showed me where the ferry was. And I said goodbye, and off I went to Macau. And I went with a 1-year contract. And I was going to leave after a year, and then I thought, well, I nearly left. I booked a farewell party, and then my boss said to me, why are you leaving? I said, oh, because I'm bored, and I want to go and do my top-up degree in Portugal, and because that's what everybody's doing. And she said, well, if you stay, because you've helped me write the degree here anyway, so why don't you do the degree here and I'll up your salary and you can do whatever you want here. So I thought, well, I am the secretary of the rugby club anyway, and I can't leave now. And I phoned my dad and I said, Dad, what do I do? Because I've got this job lined up in Portugal. I'm going to go study. What do I do? And I've reserved my flight. My farewell party's booked. And he said, what does your heart tell you to do? I said, Dad, my heart tells me to stay. So he said, okay, stay. So I stayed, and I stayed until 2000. And so Macau was, oh my God. You need a whole podcast for me to give you stories about Hong Kong and Bangkok and Cebu in the Philippines. And what can I say? There was no Facebook, there was no Instagram, there was no Twitter. So I got away with a few things, except I've got a photograph somewhere. I went to a Chippendales show in Hong Kong, and somehow I made the front cover. Oh God, oh, hang on, I might have it here. I made the front cover of the Sunday newspaper in Hong Kong, because they caught me. They caught me. And I was just thinking, bloody hell, a girl can't even go to a Chippendale show. Look, but it gets worse, because then the Portuguese newspaper of Macau kind of got it, and they published it. You see?
Yeah.
And the title is, Do You Know Her? And the answer is, yes, of course you do. It's Sofia. Because there was only one nightclub in Macau and 3 bars, and of course I knew them all for research purposes only. So that was my time. So then I left Macau with a lot of tears and a fabulous party and a lot of friends in my heart who I still carry with me dearly. And I came to Portugal and I went to work in a luxury 5-star hotel. We had 29 bedrooms. The hotel was owned by a Chinese casino tycoon. It was being managed by a Frenchman, and the staff were unionized Portuguese. I had one brief, that they don't kill each other and that we get a Michelin star in the restaurant. So they didn't kill each other. We got a Michelin star in the restaurant. I've negotiated 2 possible strikes on the eve of New Year's Eve. So I did that. And then I worked with some fabulous professionals. And yes, I was 29 when I got so I was 27, 29 when I got that management position.
So you'd gone back to managing from teaching?
Sorry, I'd left education and gone into operations, high-end ops. And I did a few daring things. So like every young manager, I was just thrown in, just thrown in. And I had to learn the hard way. I made a lot of mistakes. No mistakes. I learned a lot of lessons. And I just didn't, just kind of navigated it. So yeah, on the 7th of September, on the eve of my 30th birthday, I had a tachycardic arrest. So I think I nearly plonked it. So I had a major breakdown, just burnout, complete burnout. I went to see a doctor, 7 o'clock in the morning. My mom, who's a nurse, kind of came, I was having this massive panic attack. Just because of all sorts of things. And we went to the doctors, and the doctor said, well, when was the last time you slept? I was like, I don't know. She goes, when was the last time you had a meal? I said, I was on two packets of cigarettes and 7 espressos a day. That's how I live. And so I was just thinking, she said, well, it's really easy. You can go back to what you were doing, but then your parents will be burying you in 2 months. Or I'm going to send you home for 2 months and sleep.
That's pretty intense.
Hey, wait, I'm only at 28 now. So I then kind of went, shit, what do I do next? So then I thought, oh my God, it's my 30th birthday. I'll go to the Tina Turner concert and I'll throw a party. And I switched on the television because it was my 30th birthday and I wanted to know what was happening in the world. And I saw the second Twin Tower come down live. So it was like, and now you burnt out. You think you're going to die. You've been sent home. So yeah, and you know, so it's kind of, yeah. So yes, I slept for 2 months thanks to medication and a good doctor. And then you kind of get up and you pick up the pieces and you go back to work and you try to think it's going to be all okay, right? And it's not, because you're a little bit broken. And I had some good bosses, but it just didn't it didn't fit in very well. I think, so yeah, and then I was approached by a very dear friend of mine, who's an exceptional, fantastic Portuguese chef, to go and work with him in a project in Lisbon for this fantastic restaurant, which was like 4 concepts in one. First major sushi restaurant bar, cafeteria, fine dining restaurant, all in one. And I was there for 4 months as F&B director. I was sidelined because it was few partners. One partner liked me, one partner didn't like me. So I kind of was invited to go. I didn't mind because I went on the dole for €1,000, which didn't seem like a bad idea.
Yeah.
Now, to be unemployed and to be on €1,000.
€1,000 a what? A month or a week?
A month.
Fair.
Yeah. So I did that for 6 months. I went for a job interview once, for an F&B position. And the guy interviewing me had the audacity to say I had everything to do the job. It was just a pity I was a woman, because they were looking for a man. So I thought, okay, I'll put that in my bag. Okay, so I kept that one. And then the hotel where I had been an intern 5 years before called and said, would you like a job as a duty manager? We need somebody who can speak various languages. And we need somebody who can understand the hotel. So I got in my car and I drove from Lisbon all across Portugal, all across Spain. And I got a ferry in Valencia. And I got in my car and I arrived in Mallorca.
So this is the one originally where you met Figo all those years before?
No, yeah, that's the one. So I went back to the same hotel. Now, are you ready for the second story of this hotel? So I'm the duty manager at this hotel, you know, like all my colleagues, and shout out to Anna and Ronald, you know, all my friends who I met there, and I'm still very good friends. Anna is my beach buddy friend on that picture over there. So I go back to this hotel and it's really cool, right? And one day we pick up this phone call. David Beckham has signed for Real Madrid, and Real Madrid are going to come and stay at our hotel. So we get this major visit from all the people of Real Madrid because it's his first game in Mallorca, okay? And we get this following instructions. You've got to build gates to keep the fans away. And you've got to build inside the lobby. We had this open lobby space, and we had to close the lobby with provisional walls for them to have breakfast because the fans were going to get us. And we were like, holy.
Oh, sorry, 1 second. The screen froze just as you were saying build walls for the fans.
So inside the hotel lobby, it was an open lobby. But for the team to be able to have breakfast and lunch in peace, we had to build like provisional walls so that we could close them off so the fans wouldn't see them and wouldn't bother them when they were having meals. Okay, so Beckham arrived with Real Madrid in 2003, I think. Boys, you might know me better, but I think that's the year. And thanks God we had those flippin' gates because those people slept out, right? So the story gets better. This hotel's name was called Victoria. Okay, the name of the hotel was called Victoria. They arrived on Saturday, I think. The guys, check your facts because I get my stories mixed up. But I think the manager was Carlos Queiroz, the Portuguese manager, on the same, and that year might be. And Figo and Ronaldo and Ronaldinho. Do you know Roberto Carlos? He's shorter than me.
Roberto Carlos.
Yeah, he's shorter than me. And listen, Ben, I got my heels.
Though.
I got my heels. Listen, and so yes, I'm meeting all these guys, right? And they have no idea I speak Portuguese, right? So I can hear them talk about the girls and all this. So it's real fun. Anyway, long story short, I stayed in the hotel because I was duty manager, because Queiroz was Portuguese and all the, just in case something was needed, right? 7 o'clock in the morning, our phones do not stop getting off the hook, and we couldn't understand what was going on. It's like English press calling us. So you're Victoria Hotel, what's going on? I'm like, what the hell's going on? Well, guess what? That morning was the day the story broke up of David Beckham with Rebecca Luz.
Oh,
and
really?
do you remember? There's a photograph. I don't think it was the Daily Mail. I can't remember. And you see that the photo was taken from the paparazzi in the marina, and they catch him on the phone on the veranda of the hotel. And because the hotel's called Melia Victoria, the headline is he's on the phone, but it's not his Victoria kind of thing. So because they captured the hotel name in the photograph, was hell for us. But talk about free publicity and talk about PR. And we are thinking, thanks God we built the gates, and thanks God we built those walls, right? So that's I just never got the bloody shirt from Beckham, because then he was a bit bothered. I should have gotten that one. But yeah, so Mallorca, I've got 20 minutes left, 15 minutes. I've got to watch because I talk too much, Ben. Look, I promise you. So yeah, and then I got bored. I got really bored. So because I used to work in the afternoon. So the morning I used to go to the gym, and then I'd go to the beach, and then I'll pop home for a shower and go to work. And I was bored stiff. So I went on to Google. Yes, I did speak to Figo again. He was in the second match, and he remembered me from the first time. Whoever forgets me after they meet me. Anyway, so I got bored. So I went on to Google. 2003 November, and I just put management small hotels, and the only jobs that came up was England. And I'm thinking, hang on, England? I never thought about working in England, right? And I thought, well, I speak English, I got fish and chips, and I'm sure I can learn how to drink beer. And someone said to me, what about the weather? And I said, I'll just buy an umbrella, right? So I got a job. I went for 3 interviews, 2 in the Lake District and 1 outside of Leeds in Wetherby with handpicked hotels. So I took handpicked hotels because I thought, oh my God, it's closer to Leeds, and there's a city and there's 2 universities, one never knows. So I arrived on the 23rd of November, 2003. I bought a coat on the 24th of November. And on the 26th of December, I saw snow for the first time in my life. And I told all the guests in the hotel, so they all bombarded me with snowballs. So that was cool, right? So yes, I worked at handpicked hotels, and I was house manager. We won Hotel of the Year by the AA in 2004. I met some amazing people still in my life, and friends. Friends in New Zealand and Dubai, and got my heart full of that. So after 3 years, I woke up one day and I was 36. And I thought, my God, I'm getting old, and I'm not married.
Sorry, you froze again, just saying you're 36.
So I woke up, I'm 36. I'm like on 700 quid a month or something. The kitchen porter's earning more than me because he's working by the hours. I'm like on salary, right? And I'm thinking, okay, this is cool. I've got no children. I don't have a husband. So what am I going, I don't have enough money to live on my own and go and travel and see the world like I do. So I know what, I'm going to go and study. And then one day when I'm 50 or 60 and I can't be on heels and 16 hours a day on my legs, maybe I can go and corrupt the next generation of people, because I had people who impacted my life. So that's what I did. I signed up to Leeds Becker to do my part-time master's degree. And in my statement, I said I wanted to teach. So I spoke to all my colleagues at work, and I said, guys, I'll do all the weekends, I'll do all the Christmases, I'll do everything, Mother's Day, Father's Day, if you guys just allow me to have 2 days off around my timetables from work. And so they said yes. So it was working full-time and studying part-time. And then second year into my master's, they asked me if I wanted to go and teach the first subject, which was international hospitality. So I went for an interview, for this job interview. And I remember them, the two ladies who interviewed me, one is Isabel, if she's watching. I love her to bits because she was my boss for a while. And then they interviewed me and they said, oh, so Sofia, but if you get this job, we only pay by the hour. So if you're not teaching, we can't pay you. And I said, okay. And then the other person, Deborah, who's now at Sheffield Hallam, said to me, so how are you going to do it? And I said, oh, I'll figure it out. So I left the interview, you know, near LGI, and I walked down Park Row, and I thought, I've bloody nailed that. So I walked into Bar and Grill. It had only been opened a month. I think it was opened in June, and I went for this interview in July, and I got to the bar, and I said, I'm going to order a glass of champagne. I nailed it. I'll figure out. And I looked around, and I thought, God, this must be such a cool place to work. Everybody's young, right? And Helen Charlton, who's at Sebby's in Headingley, you know Helen, she was at the bar. She was the bar manager at the time, and I asked her, could I speak to a manager? So Matt Buckingham at the time comes over, and I say to him, oh, are you looking for anyone for work? And he goes, who for? Any of your kids or friends? And I go, for me. So of course they're not like, I'm well in my 30s, right? So I'm at Bar and Grill, and I said to him, listen, and I explained, I'm going to teach part-time. I'm going to study part-time, so I need a part-time job. And he says, tell me how many hours. And you just take the young ones under your wing. And I said, fine. So I resigned from the hotel. The GM at the hotel said he'd hold my letter for a month before he gave it in. And I said, okay. So I went to Bar and Grill. So at 37, I was the oldest waitress in Leeds. But, you know, in Bar and Grill, right? And I thought the kids wouldn't respect me, you know, until I got the first 100% mystery diner score the company ever received. And I thought, I think that will show them. This was before they were giving away free trips to Italy, by the way, and bonuses, you know, you kind of got. Well, now, I mean, I don't know now. I mean, now, sorry. But you know what I mean? At the time, I mean, Bar and Grill was open for a month and it was fun. You know, I felt so young and yeah, so this young lad, Jonathan, who was 17, who was studying to be a lawyer. Fast forward 10 years, he was the general manager at Bar and Grill. So I just thought, oh my God, so Leeds Beckett, 10 years of my life. And I loved every second of it.
Sorry, did you get the job from Leeds Beckett? The interview that you had, that then you went to the restaurant Bar and Grill? Yeah. So I was teaching part-time, studying part-time and working part-time. And I did that for about a year. Yeah, I did that for a year. And then an opportunity came to be working full-time for 6 months in Leeds Beckett, and I took it. And I did Leeds Beckett for 10 years. And I met, and that's how I got to know the industry, because I believed to my core that we couldn't be a hospitality degree if we didn't reach out to the city. The city needed us, and I needed the city for placements for my students. I needed the city, and the city is such a case study. And we've only got 10 minutes left, and I've talked so much about me. Leeds, my God, and you're so. How can I be teaching hospitality and working in hospitality and not be connected to this vibrant city full of, please, no offense to the big people, but all these independents, all these personalities, all this, you know, and I just thought, I've got to connect. And then I went. So I would go when I could afford it, you know. I would pay for it. I wanted to eat it and drink it and dance it and, you know, smokestack it and Negroni it and Mojo's and, you know, all that. And all the other fabulous places. I'm sorry if I don't remember everything, but, and I just thought that's how I got to know the city and fall in love with it. And my students, they kept me young. I mean, Jonathan Sainsbury, one of the students told me to get onto Twitter because I talked a lot. And if I could do it to 150 characters, it would be great. So they got me onto Twitter, and they got me onto to try new things, and they kept me young, and so yeah, placements and consultancy projects, because I thought the university could work with the industry, and all the independents and all,
And I always believed that a lot of little voices, if you put them together, we could make a big voice. And it frustrated me that we were in a city that highlighted the lawyers and the bankers and the architects. And I'm thinking, but this industry feeds you and knows your secrets. And who are the lovers you bring in the bar when your wife's at home, or vice versa? You know, and we put up with all that. And all these young people filled with talent, your designers and your you know, and all these incredible artistries. You know, Charlotte at Roland's, my God, can that woman draw? And Chip, and you know, all this talent in that city, and people just look at them as servers and not as, you know. So that was my mission. I don't know, I didn't do it right all the time, but that's kind of, yeah. So sorry, I'm rambling, Ben. So Leeds back at 10 years, 5 years ago. So 5 years ago, next week, I celebrate a massive next step in my life, which was I nearly died. So I had a stupid accident in my life. I fell in the garden, cracked my skull open. I was concussed at home for 22 hours. I didn't know I was concussed. I think I phoned Annie Opong at Arc Inspirations to tell her I couldn't come to a meeting I had arranged with Arc Inspirations for placements for my students. And I cancelled a few meetings. I cancelled some meetings with my students, concussed, and all I could do was vomit. And a colleague of mine from work thought it was very funny that I hadn't gone to work, so she came to my house. And when she came, she realized I was bleeding. I had an open head and stuff. So yeah, I ended up in LGI for 2 weeks with morphine. Talk about an eye-opener, okay? And anybody who faces a near-death experience, and I'm not saying, but it is eye-opening, because you come out of it, and when you feel this and you think you're never going to die, and all of a sudden, I was confronted with morphine for 2 weeks, and I was confronted with the fact that I didn't die just because somebody remembered I wasn't at work. And you just look at life differently, and you just think, listen. And a friend of mine said to me, Sophia, when are you wanting to stop to die? You just got to live. And I just decided, you know what, I'm 45 now, but I'm going to live to 100. And if the first 45 was a rehearsal, sure as hell going to live the life of the next 50. And so I took everything. I gave up the full-time job because I couldn't do the politics, and I couldn't do the yes sir, no sir. And I was tired of asking for forgiveness because I never asked for permission, because otherwise I couldn't do what I wanted. And I took the leap of faith, and I started Rebel Solutions. And Rebel Solutions is me believing that there's a lot of rebel voices. There's a lot of loose lips in this world. And we have never, ever been part of the establishment. And the establishment have fucked up royally. So if we could just join all these rebels and all these creatives, maybe, just maybe, tomorrow would be a better world. So I did Rebel Solutions, and it was great, and it was fantastic, and I had a fabulous launch party, and I had a fabulous logo, and everybody helped me, and then I forgot. Oh, bollocks. Sorry.
Your phone's been a rebel now.
I know. I talked with my hands. Oh, God, have you just seen my cleavage? Sorry. So I went, oh, gosh. Yeah, anyway, so somewhere there. What did I, somewhere, just quickly, I'm scared of time. Anyway, because I know you got the next guest, and we've got to respect your times. So, bollocks.
Soon as you mention rebel, that's it. Now your anarchy's coming out, smashing your own bedroom.
Bloody hell! Listen, you want to see my rebel poster? So what was I going to say? So I've just realised. Hang on, is that cool? So we do that. Yeah. So I forgot something about Rebel Solutions. I forgot I needed to charge people money, and I didn't know how to charge for what I knew, and I thought people would pay me, but if you don't ask, you don't get. So I just, I left Leeds because I was 1 month away from being homeless and foodless, and I just couldn't survive. So I ate my pride, and I listened to my dad, who said, Sophia, just come home. It's okay. It's just your pride. And I was like, Dad, no, I can't go. And he said, well, come home. And so I came home. And, and I'm rebuilding slowly. Maybe there's a book somewhere. I don't know. Maybe I should write the memoirs of all the rebels.
There's a book. I think there's definitely a book. Do you think you'll come back to Leeds in any capacity? Obviously to visit, but do you
Listen,
think you want to come back in a stronger capacity as well?
oh God, anytime, anytime. I had a ticket to Diana Ross, 30th of June, because I thought the diva's coming to town. She's got to meet the other diva. So I thought that was gonna. I didn't come back for the boxing in November because my heart was still too broken. And I think, oh shit, this is when I'm going to cry. And I think if I came back then, it hurt too much. Because I miss you all so much. Oh shit, Ben, I've been trying. So yes, but I never say never. I've never said never. Okay, I've never said never. And Leeds is my second home, and all the things and all the people, you know, my projects and my people. And I mean, Harewood Food and Drink Project last week asked me to join them on the NHS clap. And I was just, oh my God, Leeds is so my heart. But I've also got to come back. I've also got to try Portugal, and I've got to try to do something here. And on the down days, you know, the less good days. I don't have bad days. I have less good days. I have no problems. I've got challenges. I've made no mistakes. I've only learned lessons. Okay, that's my glossary, people. That's my glossary. Okay. On those days, I look at Leeds and I look at you guys and I look at my broken head and I look at, you know, all that, and I just think I'm stronger for it.
And we're better for it. We're better because you're forever in the spirit of the city. You're forever in the spirit of the city. That's why so many people are so thankful for a lot of input and behind the scenes. And you're a real great matchmaker. You can see people's potential because you know so many different people from so many different areas of the industry. You're really good at piecing together other people, which then blossoms their either endeavours or creative outlets. So you're a massive string puller.
But Ben, if I can leave one thing as a note or as a legacy, or as, you know, or the back of a menu card, you know, of something, is I can't be there now, and I can't be there forever. And I wish I could wrap you all around my blanket, you know, and just take you all in and say it's going to be okay. But the next tomorrow, not the new one, the next one is going to be challenging, and we're going to, do you know what I mean? This time's coming that the times are changing. Bob Dylan put that, people. But just remember to be kind and to smile to each other. It doesn't hurt to smile and to just remember that on the other side there's a person. Remember, that's all I ever tried to do. Yeah, and I think if that stays, if I just, you know, and there's more unity in the differences than you all have, you know, everybody, you know, we all compete and we all competitors in business and in life. And listen, we've been girls, you know, so, you know what I mean? Girls are competitors, boys, you know, since the playground, we're always competing for a piece of the action of the game. But remember to be kind to each other. And if two people can do something, you save time if one person's going to do it on their own. So that's the kind of thing, you know, yeah. And I hope did you get the biscuits? Did you get some biscuits?
I was going to bring this up. This is a sign of Sofia's kindness. Do you know what was really crazy? So I got a knock on the door at about 8:30, and I don't usually get up till about 12:30. Like, even before lockdown, I don't even get up before 12:30, really. But yeah, so I get this knock on the door, and it was proper what I feel like how a CIA agent would drop off something for Will Smith. It's like, we need to save the world. I was like, oh, what? Is this it now? Is this it now? Got this cheeky little package. Where is it? Got this package like that. I'm like, oh yeah. So opens it up, and then look at these beauties. Look at that. How thoughtful is that? So you got these made and sent to me and delivered to me door. That is class. Well, that just shows like the level of like thoughtfulness that you really have.
So shout out to Lisa and Saskia from Bloom Bakers, because they do, everybody in the city. Look, Chip does your logo. Ricky and James are doing classroom cocktails. Everybody in the city has got something that if you could join all these bits, next tomorrow is stronger. You know, everybody's got And sometimes we just got to, the Bloom Bakers did I got them to do biscuits for the Mobo Awards at the Leeds Arena. I just asked them and they did it. So we can always ask, and we've got to remember, please pay people for their knowledge, please pay people for their time. When you say, Sophia, can I just have a coffee? Yes, you can, but my coffee is 30 years of experience time. So all that, I wish I could tell you lots of things, and please come to Portugal as well, and we'll be okay. And just, yeah, I don't know what to say. Oh, big heart, big love. I didn't wear my Leeds United shirt because I know you're an Arsenal fan, and you should never talk, and you should never, ever, ever talk sex, religion, football, and politics with your friends around the table. So I did the white rose, okay? I did the white rose for Leeds, okay?
Perfect. Well, I wanted to speak with you because, yeah, obviously your life story is an intriguing and interesting one, but you're just a beautiful, delicate, amazing soul who's had such a impact for so many people. And to be fair, it was when I was speaking with Harry George Johns from the Holy Mountain, and you were in the group, and again, you've been supporting this from where you are, and you mentioned something, and he was like, you know, this city has a lot to thank Sophia for, and I was like, you know what, 100%. There's so many people that could tell an anecdote or a tale about where you've intersected and helped people either prosper to another level or give them some experience that they still take with them. So this city has a lot to thank you for, and you are in the spirit of the streets of the city. 100%.
Stay strong.
Thank you. You stay cool.
And I'll see
stay safe.
I'll see you in the next boxing ring.
Yeah, 100%.
IBE in the house. Okay, I'll come back for that.
Bless you. Thank you so much, Sophia. You take care. Bye.
My love. Cheerio, my darling. Cheerio.
There we go, Sophia. That was an amazing chat. I wanted to just listen, really. Just sometimes it's just good to listen and hear someone's story, and that felt like one of them. So yeah, I'm glad that everybody who was tuned in was sending your questions through. Sorry if I didn't get any get to ask any of them that was put in there. Like you say, what an amazing woman, an incredible spirit, and that's something that I'm sure from this chat you'll be able to take away. So that was perfect. So if you're new to this, what it is Loose Lips. I'm Ben Random. I'm your host, and that was chatting with Sophia then. Join me in like 3 minutes. I'll be going into my next chat, which is with Tom Granger, DJ extraordinaire. So see you on the other side. Peace.